I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to another exciting episode of After Hours. We are live here. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined by the Whack Pack. As always, John Romano is going to be a little late. We got Greg Valentino, Larry Pollock, Armand Dedibi. Where is Amin? I don't see Guru Amin, but I do see an old friend, Richard Rodriguez, joining us again. He's back.
Richard,
thank you, man. Every single damn.
People thought you left because you were mad at us or something like that.
No, even worse. People actually thought I got rearrested, which was insane.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I mean, the first week, I heard so many rumors. It was crazy. I mean, the first week I missed out when I told you that I ended up getting that offer.
Richard, I had heard that you got kidnapped by the Mexican cartel, and Larry Pollock had to go down there and break you out. Is that true?
Well,
he knows the rope. He's like, Larry, you're like, you remember what's his name? Sean Connery in the movie The Rock. They had to take him out of like jail, and they had to like help him break into Alcatraz. You know?
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, Larry, if you know people over there, it's like, and if I ever get into a mix, believe you me, you'll be the first person I call then.
I don't know anybody.
I mean, the only person I got kidnapped from is my wife. Since I got back together.
You know, how did that happen, Richard? You're back with the wife, the ex-wife. That's incredible.
You know, God's good, man. You know how I was as far as like being very family oriented before the whole indictment went down, and
you were very mad at her, weren't you?
I was mad at her, but it was really more so because I got uncompromising loyalty, man, even to people that don't deserve it. So I felt in the beginning betrayed from the standpoint where when I needed her the most, she left, you know, and failing to realize that over 98% of relationships end when a federal indictment happens. Over 98%. So why was me to expect me to be an exception to the rule? And over 70% of relationships get back together when the person comes back out. So that's why my objective when I got out was get back in touch with my son, be an amazing father, and if God is able to grant me the wish of my wife accepting me back, I was going to take her back with open arms because she was my muse and she was one of the best partners to have as a friend, as a lover, as everything. So fortunate enough.
Congratulations, yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I bet your kid's happy, huh?
I was going to say the same thing, yeah.
Max is like insanely happy because now he sees me every night. So,
Max, Romano's son is named Max too. So you guys have that in common.
Mr. G is Jack, man. What's up, Mr. G?
I had to mute Mr. G because he's got wind noise over there. I'll unmute him for a second.
Was gonna boat.
Here I am. I'm at Newsummer. I'm at Ponce Inlet, New Smyrna Beach, the #1 shark capital in the world. But
I heard that.
You look Jack, man. What's up?
I'm just
you have him on TRT, Dave? What's up?
Yeah, I'm on. I go to this clinic in Boca, and they got me on a little under a cc a week. What's happening is I'm doing all negative. Like I'm working weight training like the old Nautilus training, like super high negatives. You know, like I'm doing the negative for 10 seconds and then really quick lifting it up, like if I do curls or presses, you know.
Are you gonna wrestle a shark
MMA.
out there?
What?
Are you gonna wrestle a shark? Are you gonna put a shark like in a freaking suplex or something? You know?
Yeah, that's how he looks like.
Yeah, I just got here. No, we're not their food. If they bite you, it's like a little. You know, you get like maybe about 30 stitches.
Can you go sit in your car so that we don't have wind noise?
Got you. All right.
Go sit in the car. I'm going to mute you until.
You only get 30 stitches if you get bit by. That's not bad.
I got news for you.
You get killed.
Dude, I wouldn't.
You get
I
killed,
wouldn't
exactly.
You get killed, man. Take it from somebody. Take it from somebody that has done an obscene amount of scuba diving, even in Cape Town during the Great White season. You get killed, man.
Or if you're lucky, you just lose a limb. You know.
Oh hell yeah, man! I'm
Yeah,
Italian.
you're
are-
lucky.
Who doesn't
We're
like
really
Italian
the dumbest.
food?
We're really the dumbest creatures on this planet. We know that the sharks are in the water, and people pay big money. And I know out in California, you can go. I have a friend of mine who's done it twice. Swim with the great whites. They lower you into the water in a cage, and there's a million great whites all around. And they actually throw like chum in the water to get the things aggressive.
I was one of those.
And you
I was
remember the
one of-
movie Jaws? He goes, and when the Richard Dreyfuss played the marine biologist, he comes with the cage, and Quint, the guy who played Richard Shaw, played Quint. Quint said, "You put the cage in the water, you get into the cage, sharks in the water."
I was
Shark breaks the cage. Shark eats the,
Yeah, man, they'll
the
fuck
diver.
that. They'll eat the
I was
cage.
one of those dumbasses in Cape Town, South Africa, that decided to swim out of a cage. And
did?
even,
Oh.
yeah, and even more so, there's a section in Cape Town, South Africa, where it's called Seal Island, where it's nothing but a shit ton of seals. And what's a great white staple diet? Fucking seals. So here I am scuba diving, playing around with seals, which, by the way, are extremely playful. But then I end up seeing like red all of a sudden, like the color of blood, and like all the seals dispersing. So I go up to the water level, and I'm like, holy shit! The only thing that this pool of blood can account for is that there's a fucking great white around. So so I didn't even bother looking. So it's like I just swam like for the fastest I ever could in my life. And as soon as I got into a boat, back to the boat, I noticed the great white hovering around one of the rocks where all the seals were congregating. And I was like, holy fuck. And the reasons why a lot of people are courageous in swimming outside of the cage is because sharks are naturally blind. They have, but they have an impeccable sense of smell. They can smell a drop of blood 5 miles away. A drop of blood. That's the reasons why they say if a woman has a period, don't go into the fucking water. Yeah. But so, and people, when they have the people that get bitten by great whites that are out of a cage is usually individuals that when the shark is coming at them are replicating the motions of animals in which they consume. But if you just float,
you mean
stay
Richard,
stagnant.
you mean like Mr. G when he wears his wetsuit and he's flopping around there,
and he looks like a seal.
Surfing?
Oh yeah, he would be in it. He would be in.
You know what's funny though? You can't even shave. They tell you if you're gonna go in waters where sharks are, don't shave because the slightest little nick, you know what I'm saying, is bad. They could taste that, smell it. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like that shark.
Bro, I'm Italian food. Who doesn't like Italian food? I get in there. I get a fucking. First of all, I jump in the water.
You
There's an
don't swim
oil
anyway.
slick
I can't see you in the water. I don't see you swimming very much.
I
like a penguin. He's like a penguin in the water. Penguins just like to dip their feet. They don't really like to swim.
Why? We're gonna have the Olympia surf party right here. I'm like 15 minutes from Orlando.
Do you know how to swim, Greg? By the way, or
yeah, I have a swim. We had a swimming pool. My girlfriend just actually cut the grass and shot a rock through the fucking pool. So now we got another one laying outside that we're gonna put up. But yeah, I swim in it. I can swim. But I mean, still, I'm an Italian man. We leave a grease you know what I mean, when we jump in the water. And fucking, if I saw a shark,
you mean olive oil?
Dude, the shark would fucking not want to eat me because I'd shit in the water, and the shark would be like, "Oh fuck," No, I would never swim with that, bro. I'm scared of water. When I was little, I don't remember this, but my mother told me my father, they had for his job, he was an artist. They had a big party and off of Rye. And you know Rye Beach down there, Dave. And I walked off a pier and I fell like 12 feet into water. I don't remember this. And my father dove in his clothes and pulled me out. But ever since then, I guess that's why I have a fear of I swim in the pool and shit, but I'm very cautious in the ocean, man. I'm scared shit of water. Like that's like dude, that's the worst way to die is to drown. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's my fear, water. You
My
know?
father did that. My father walked off a pier. I guess him and his brothers were drinking, and it was like a month after my mom had died, and my father had gone out and hung out with his brothers out in Blue Point, and he walked off a thing. I guess fell in the water. They were like, "Where's Sal? Where's Sal?" And then they realized he was in the water. My father really can't swim. They pulled him out, and he never told me. I found out like 20 years later from one of my uncles who just slipped up. Because my father made him swore up to secrecy that like they wouldn't tell me because they were afraid like my sister and I were going to be like traumatized, because we had just lost our mother. But
To me, it happened when I was 2, though, Dave. So, and I don't remember it at all. But I've always had this
but it's inside your brain subconsciously. Right. It's in there.
I've always had a fear. If you say, "What's the worst way to die?" A lot of people say, "Oh, dying in a fire or something." Not for me. For me,
what's crazy, Dave, is so true what you said, that it's, based on experience, you have like that PTSD. For example, like I used to be a very aggressive driver, to the standpoint where I owned a lot of like race cars, and I ended up getting into an accident while I was residing in New York, literally 2 days before I was about to go to freaking Africa, where you know how they say that you see your life flashing before you, when you're into an accident. So I was going like 60 miles an hour, hitting like a wall, then the ramp, and then the wall, and the ramp, and then it's like I'm there in the middle of the highway, like airbags deployed, like just like nervous as fuck. Like the only reasons why I did not die is because a truck all the way to the back noticed that I got that I was into that I was in this accident, and he made a sharp turn that he covered the 3 lanes. But ever since then, it took me literally 2 years driving like a fucking 90-year-old because I didn't want to speed.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Like if the speed limit was 60 miles an hour, I was going 40. I didn't want to go in between 2 cars. It took me a while to get over that, man. And
Richard, I drive like that now because my car can't go above 40.
Hey, now, did you guys hear about LeBron James' son, Bronny, who had a heart attack? 18 years old.
Did you see about LeBron James going to the fucking movie Barbie wearing a pink skirt? Did you see that shit?
No, I didn't see that. We're not ready
Google
to talk about that. Let's talk about his son.
Wow.
I got to mute Mr. G again. He got wind noise again. I don't know what's the problem. Yeah, they don't know what happened. I mean, I don't know. I mean, 18 years old on the court.
I'm curious having from back in the days when I used to be in into the industry, where EPO and several products were very, very big that I used to personally
think this guy at 18 years old is taking drugs?
Nah, he probably.
I was taking drugs at 16 when I was competing in kickboxing.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
And some of these sports, you'd be surprised, man, at what young age.
The vaccine, Dave. The vaccine.
mRNA.
Greg, he's young.
mRNA. mRNA.
What happened to the football
it's attacking
players?
all the organs in the different organs of the body.
Before we say that,
that's who it is.
Look, before we say it, first of all, we don't even know if he was vaxxed. He would have gotten vaxxed when he was sick. That would have been 16 years old. I doubt that they were vaccinating 16-year-olds.
They were vaccinating.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
his father's a liberal.
He is from California, so it's possible,
His father's a liberal. His father went to the fucking Barbie movie wearing a pink skirt. Go Google it.
Instead of Sound of Freedom. Instead of Sound of Freedom. Instead of Sound of Freedom, he goes there.
No, but it was Barbie. He went to the Barbie movie wearing a pink fucking miniskirt.
What's Barbie movie? Why is everyone always
What for? Like, what for?
Disgusting. It was disgusting.
All these guys turn weird. Like the NBA guys, they start dressing like women. Like, when you start to see like their outfits, they dress like women now. It's weird.
I'm telling you. Armand, he was wearing a pink fuckers. It was all over the internet. He was wearing a pink skirt. He was going to fucking. There's something wrong with these fucking guys. There's something wrong with them. I'm telling you.
Oh, you think they do this stuff just for shock value, Greg?
Dude, you're gonna go to the movie Barbie wearing. First of all, why would you even go see that fucking movie? Second of all, you're gonna go there wearing a pink fucking skirt. I mean, there's other ways to be outrageous. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man.
I got to mute.
Yeah, you could get there's other ways.
George.
There's other ways you could be outrageous. They would do an enema like Greg.
You're right. Do an enema, man. You'd be better off. No, seriously,
yeah, it's like that.
Man.
Why you can do anything outrageous, but you have to wear a skirt, or it's just like.
Has anyone seen this Barbie movie?
No, I
No.
don't.
Why is
Why
everyone
would I
making a
see
big
that?
deal about this thing? Is it
Because of the
marketing?
Chinese. Because there it is. There's LeBron James in a pink miniskirt.
He looks like he's got boobs, doesn't he?
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
man boobs.
disgusting.
Gyno hitting the old man.
Maybe he's
No,
not
that's
taking. Maybe his
disgusting.
testosterone dropped, and he's
Yeah.
he's turning in what he really.
I
wants
mean,
to do
I
now.
could understand when you don't take a proper PCT how you tend to get a bit more emotional than usual, but go so far as to like wear a skirt, it's not happening.
Nah, dude, that's
Like-
disgusting. Come on. And what were you seeing in the
Yeah.
movie Barbie? Do you have a young daughter? It's different if you had a fucking little girl and you
Right.
want to like take her to the movie. But you know, they got the reason why they were making a freaking out is because they have that thing with the Chinese and the 9 fucking little island things. You know what I'm saying? Like the number. It was there's hidden messages in there, and you know, I don't know. It's everything.
No, because Greg,
today.
you know what happens? They want to publish. Who owns Barbie? The Barbie movie? Is that Disney?
Mattel.
I think it's,
Mattel.
But who
it's
made
almost
the movie?
big,
Though?
but it might be a Disney movie. I don't know who did the movie, to be honest.
Whoever's doing it is obviously
Yeah.
spending big money. They want to make sure that it makes a splash. So they're paying probably all these people to,
Yeah, it's
to
Disney.
show up.
No.
Marketing.
No, they're doing it because
Disney.
the Chinese will put it in there.
Disney.
They did it to
Dis-
appease the Chinese. Vietnam
Disney made-
said, we're not going to watch this because it's disrespectful to some of the other Asian nations. It's supposed to be like almost, I can't explain to you. Got to Google why. It's like the fucking, there's the little islands and shit like that. And the little numbers. And they were saying that it's disrespectful to some of the other Asian nations because they're saying like supreme, the Chinese are supreme. They did it purposely so that movie's big in China and everything too. You gotta watch the whole, you know. All I know is it's definitely woke. I'm tired of that shit. You know, but Margot Robbie, I'd hit that shit in a can like you wouldn't believe. You know?
You like her?
Huh?
Who would it?
You like Margot Robbie?
Oh hell yeah! I usually don't like blondes, but I would fucking I'd live in the bathroom a week just to smell one of her farts. You know what I'm saying?
I used to say when a girl was so hot, I used to say I would suck a fart out of her ass. I was like, Margot is like the type of girl that I would suck a fart out of her ass, dude.
Dude, can you picture her taking a stinky shit? That's impossible.
Oh my
There's
God.
no way anything bad could. It's to me like you know, like
You see
Amber
that someone
Heard.
said the LeBron pink skirt thing was fake. It was
No,
posted
dude,
by
let
a
me
parody account.
Amber Heard. I can't picture somebody like that.
Greg, did you hear what I said?
Yes, you're LeBron in a skirt.
It's a fake.
It's a what?
Someone mocked it up. It's a fake. He didn't really wear the skirt.
I don't know. It was all over the news and shit.
Well,
But whatever.
you believe the news? The news is I'd rather believe
I don't believe the news,
the
but
guy in the street corner than the news.
it doesn't shock me if LeBron is so woke and so up everybody's all the woke ass. It's unbelievable. So I don't care.
It wasn't pink in that picture. It looked like a khaki skirt.
Oh, really? Well, maybe they changed it to pink.
According to my sources, it's a fake. The picture.
I don't know.
The fact
Who's your
of the matter
source?
is
One of these fucking momos watching this show and stuff? Is that they were like, oh, that's a fake. You know why? Because they're on the left, they're fucking liberal, and they don't like to see that shit.
see, that's one of the things that's been literally
Fact checkers got
irritating. That's one of the things that's been literally irritating me lately. Now that I see my son more like every single day, is him being on TikTok and seeing all this crazy fucking videos of like
Oh yeah, man.
transsexuals and all this. Oh, like, dude, I've stopped. I've restricted him. I was like, the fuck you watching that for? And he's like, oh, it's funny. And I was like, you got people teaching kids how to fucking twerk in schools. I was like, are they doing this shit in your school? He's like,
You know,
no.
I was
like,
watching Patrick Bet-David, and he was interviewing that Anthony Weiner guy. You know, the guy
I
who
watched
was.
that.
I watched that. He got all
How
pissed
funny was
off.
that? Anthony Weiner
Got all pissed off.
Anthony Weiner was a congressman from New
New
York
York.
who got disgraced because he was sending dick pics of himself to like
No,
girls,
he was master-
and he got caught. He got caught sending some sexting some 15-year-old girl.
But Dave, he was masturbating, and his son, who was 2 years old, was on the bed next to him in the room, and he was
I
fucking shit. He
I
was
didn't
caught
hear
a
that.
few times.
Oh,
He was caught a few times, and that's why
you know what's-
they left him.
He got
know, but-
mad once Patrick started reading that, talking about that list. He went nuts.
Yes.
And then he's like, "Well, you're the one. You're known for sending your wiener pics to little kids."
Patrick
See-
McDavid schooled him. Yeah.
Yeah.
People like that.
Funny.
People like that really irritate me because you have individuals, and not to like just to talk about my experience in general, but you have individuals that do specific crimes and are given 10 years, 20 years, like fuck steroids, like eight years, and you got people that are like traumatizing kids that have yet to be fully developed, raping kids, and are out, are out and about. Like it's just insane. I mean, a person like Wiener in a medium prison or like in a or even in a low, that dude would not come out of his room.
Dude,
Because
in New York and LA, they're not even arresting. The fucking people are getting arrested and let go. It's insanity. It's fucking insanity. If you're caught with steroids, you'll do time. They're not going to let you go. But you could go rob a store of $999 worth of shit. You can rob some old lady. You know, oh, she had it coming to her because she's got money and you don't. All this kind of bullshit. It's insane. It's insane today. And the pedophilia, if you're watching all the shit that's going on now with that movie, people are throwing Oprah under the bus. Did you ever see a clip of Oprah say, well, you rub a 7-year-old's crotch, it feels good. You know, it's like insane shit. It's the world is fucked up. You know?
yeah, it's sad, man.
Bro, it's fucking crazy. And I agree that TikTok shit's insane. Insane. They should shut that down. My girlfriend's fucking got a big following on TikTok. She posts insane shit. But
All right.
you know, it's fucking nuts, man.
Right. We're gonna change gears here a second. First of all, I want to send my prayers out to LeBron James family because obviously you never want to see any of your children hurt or sick or anything like that. Hopefully, Bronny comes back and we see him back on a basketball court and feeling good. I want to do something we haven't done in a while. I want to do like what we call an anabolic steroid roundtable because I have a bunch of questions a lot of people ask me, and I'm always answering questions every week on Ask Dave, right? So I figured, you know what? Let me ask you guys the questions I'm getting, and I want to get your answers because I have my own set of answers, but I want to see what your guys' answers are. And then if anyone in our chat wants to ask some questions of you guys for the anabolic roundtable, they can ask them after I'm done with these couple questions I have, because I think these are questions that come up all the time. And, you know, all you guys have used anabolics. You all been around for many, many years and have a lot of experience. So I want to get your opinion on this. So let's start with my first question. We'll start with Armand first. We have everyone here. Where's Larry's back? Okay, and Richard's here.
After hours, they want to see crazy shit. They don't want to see that shit.
All right. Best cycle you've ever done.
I think they're tired
Most
of
effective
politics,
cycle
right?
you've ever done. Armand?
What's that?
Best cycle, anabolic cycle you've ever done. Most effective.
I would say 1,500 milligrams of testosterone.
Per week.
I like test pro mixed in with it. It doesn't bother me like as much as other people. I would say 1,000 milligrams equipoise. 8 IUs of GH.
That's per week, you're saying?
Yeah, per week.
Okay.
8 IUs of GH.
Damn.
That was like my perfect number. I couldn't go any higher than that ever. And then about 20 IUs insulin.
What kind of insulin?
The regular.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, you know, I like Tren. Like I would add it in, but I would start feeling so sick and shitty. Like after a couple of weeks, I always kind of had to pull it out unless I was prepping for a show. I would only usually kind of take it the last 6 weeks. But just on that, I could, especially with the equipoise, the insulin, and the growth, I could just eat a lot. And my problem was always eating. So it wasn't maybe like the drug so much. I was just able to eat more than I ever was able to eat if I was taking something like D-ball. I couldn't even eat on 30, 40 milligrams of D-ball. I couldn't eat on Anadrol. Couldn't eat on Tren. So that was probably my best cycle that it was off season, obviously big, full. I was never a fan of I didn't take pre-contest drugs in the off season. Like people take hardeners year round now. Like these kids, they take VAR and Mastron. Mastron's real popular. People take it like year round now. I don't know why. It's really weird. But that was probably my favorite cycle that I got the best results on.
All right, let's go to Richard. Best cycle.
Best cycle was the day that I wanted to propose to my wife in Hawaii, and the one and only time in my life that I was able to get down to about 5% body fat. How I did that, the infamous Dave Palumbo, when I used to follow you via the ketogenic diet that you used to, a cyclical ketogenic diet that you were notorious of promoting. But as far as the cycle, it was 3 IUs of GH, the infamous Stack 500, which was basically a Cysternone 250 on steroids, but only doing 1 milligram of that. I was never a big user. I would cycle it with equipoise and also a Tritren, 300 milligrams of Tritren. So you would be looking at collectively about 700 milligrams.
Tritren. Tell people don't know what you're talking about.
My Tritren consisted of 3 different esters of Trenbolone. It had acetate. It had a short, mid, long ester of Tren. So, and the same thing with the Stack 500. It has short, mid, long esters. Esters is the half-life of what it takes for that particular substance to peak in your body. So I was never an advocate, even with the athletes that I train, of having a single ester unless the person was allergic to it. Because you know how some people may have allergies to propionate, but not necessarily allergies to cypionate. So that's the only times in which I used to make an exception. I used to like stacks where you're able to have that steady flow, not like those peaks and valleys.
Let's go to Greg. You want to do yours next? Best cycle.
Holy Christ!
No,
funny. We're gonna kill people though. We'll listen to. Don't do what we do. Don't do the amounts that we say. You're gonna fucking die.
Dude, Greg, these kids.
No, I'm not asking for your most insane cycle, Greg. I'm asking for the most potent cycle where you actually
I did a lot of shit. I mean, if you want to get to 6,000,
tell us the most potent one where you weren't like out of your mind. Ones.
Well, I was out of my mind the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, I did 6,000 milligrams of test. A full bottle Monday, full bottle Wednesday. I was
you felt good on that?
What?
Yeah, I did feel good. I felt good. I couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? Because it was big. I was 278 at 5'6". I did a full bottle of test on Monday. A full bottle. This is steroids too. So it was back in the day when I was selling drugs. Right. Full bottle of test on Monday, 10 cc's, 200 milligrams. Okay. Full bottle of test again. Same thing on Wednesday and the same thing on Friday. So that's 2,000 milligrams on Monday, 2,000 milligrams on Wednesday, and 2,000 milligrams on Friday. And then I would take equipoise throughout the week. I would empty a whole jug, which is 50 cc's, 50 milligram Ganabol. I like Ganabol. Okay. I would throw in some Sustenons, maybe 4 Sustenons fucking on Monday, 4 Sustenons on Tuesday.
You have enough testosterone already, right?
What you're asking? Don't do what I did, though, guys. Listen, don't listen to me. You think I'm fucked up? Don't do that, okay? This is what I'm trying to say. I don't want anybody to get hurt because that was stupid. You know what I mean? My arrest probably saved my life. Then I was also taking D-ball on top of that shit, and I liked Metanabol, which was the Polish D-ball. Those fucking things were unbelievable. The best D-ball ever.
How many did you take?
Oh God, I would take a fucking. Probably, I don't remember totally. I think the strip came 20. You know what I mean? I might have taken 20. I'm fucked up like that. I'll take the whole strip. You know what I'm saying? I think it was. I can't remember if there was 20. I remember they were orange, a little fucking like that. I think there was
10, Greg, wasn't there?
Was it 10? I don't remember. Maybe it's 10. Maybe you're right.
Those are 5 milligrams, though, right?
Yeah, he was only taking 50 milligrams.
They were unbelievable. Oh my God, Armand, those things were unbelievable. Best evil. I took Russian. I took all of it. That little stop sign, the little pink stop signs, they were a joke.
Those are the only ones I took, the Thai ones.
I did take, though, Anabolics was the first one I ever took. You know what I mean? I was the Dominican D-ball. But I took the D-ball, and then every once in a while I would take Sten when I can get my hands on Sten. You know what I mean? Right. I would mix that into it. But, I mean, that's insane. Don't do that. If you guys are watching this, don't listen to me. What I did was fucked up. But I did feel good, though. I mean, I felt like I could run through a wall. You know what I'm saying? And obviously
Shit,
I was
if you
pumped
didn't-
all the time and the whole bit, but you know, right now I'm 63 years old. That shit'd kill you. You know what I mean? And I didn't do no PCT. I didn't do no I didn't have any problems with gynos. I didn't do any of that.
You're
I
still
just,
tapering off with all the stuff in your arms. Are you kidding me? You never
yeah,
crashed.
what, 20 fucking something years later, I'm still got that shit going on me. Time release juice.
It's still releasing for the rest of his life.
Still,
It'll be
it's
releasing.
still fucking sitting in the scar tissue releasing. Now, don't
Yeah.
don't do what I did, guys. I'm an idiot, so don't do what I did. But you're asking me, that was the you
Yeah.
know,
All right, that you felt was your most potent cycle. Now you never
well,
took
it was
GH.
potent.
You never took GH. You said, right?
Never took GH. I didn't want to fuck around with any of that shit or insulin. I didn't need it. I'm a fucking androgen junkie. I love androgens, dude. I could fuck all day, all night. I would fuck a dirt hole if I was horny. You know what I'm saying? I would go out in the backyard, dig a hole, and fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I was, you know, when you're taking that much testosterone, you know, I used to have hair on my head. I wasn't always ugly. I didn't always look like this, you know. But
Greg, let me ask you a question while I got you here.
Yeah.
On getting to the sex thing, when people take a lot of drugs, obviously they get hypersexual and they start almost, you know, I always call it like the porn star like effect. You
right.
you just start thinking about things you never would think about before. Now, when you would go to like the Sound Factory and stuff like that, you know, all hyped up on, you know, your stimulants, you know, because you used to take your ephedrine before you'd go there.
Oh, yeah,
Greg didn't drink and he didn't do any drugs, so he was
Didn't drink, didn't do drugs, but I did I would take ephedrine.
Yeah. You would say, yeah, because otherwise you can't stay awake, you know, if you don't
Love
do that. But,
ephedrine. Yes.
yeah. So would you did you find that you were like more attracted to the girls that maybe you wouldn't normally be attracted to if you weren't on like 6,000 milligrams of testosterone a week?
Yeah, you know, of course. I mean, Kamali introduced me to that tranny, and I would have fucked her right there in the fucking place. You know what I'm saying? But she wanted Kamali, not me.
$500, Greg. $500. He's got to donate.
Did Kamali already hit it and he was just trying to pass it on?
He was trying to pass it off on me. No, she was hot.
Sloppy seconds. Greg got sloppy seconds on that.
You wouldn't know though. You wouldn't know. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I would have. That hole was probably like this though after Kamali. But no, I don't think Kamali did anything with her. I don't know. But
No, Kamali was.
No, I was definitely hypersexual. You know what I'm saying? I was, you know, I mean, I could fucking blow the nut like a lot. I could still blow a nut a lot. You know what I mean?
Doesn't it drive you crazy, Greg, though, when people tell you that they can't get an erection and they're on like 6,000, they're on as much stuff as you were taking and they can't get an erection, they tell me. I don't know why
that is, Dave. I also didn't get bitch tits, or maybe because I started steroids older. I was 35 when I started.
I think you probably just didn't have the glitz. But Armand, you hear this too, I'm sure.
All the time from these young kids. They're like, my
can't
sex
get it
drive.
up. I don't understand it.
I'm like,
Because I feel like
my
they're
sex
too
drive
young
was
to be
never not okay. It was
It's really
always-
it's really more so, and you can vouch for this, Dave. It's really more so on how your body metabolizes it. I mean, there are some people that
Now,
that
you
their
want to know my
estrogens-
theory?
What's your
My
theory?
theory is these guys today take too much Trenbolone and too much Deca, and they raise their prolactin levels through the roof, and it kills their ability to have an erection. No one took 1,000 milligrams of Trenbolone back in the
That's
early
a
2000s.
That's a valid point, because there were certain times in which, when I had my clinic, where people would say, it's like, hey, I'm having erectile dysfunction issues. I look at their blood work, their estrogen levels are on point, so estrogen wasn't the issue.
Yeah.
And that's when you dig deeper and you started seeing prolactin being elevated, and then when you start asking about the protocols, it's just like, you're spot on.
Then you
Heavy
take
amounts of Tren.
But Dave, you're right. I think you're right. You know why? Because I didn't like Deca. If I went up on Deca, I did Deca and I took Steris Deca, which was real, but I did not like it. And because I did feel like it fucked with the Pichuli God down there, and I didn't like that. You know what I mean?
I took it once and it messed me up for like 7 months and never took it again.
Yeah. I didn't have any problems with it. I just think guys took too much of it. That's what I think.
I did. I think that could be. I think you're onto that. I think you're right. I think it's the prolactin. You obviously take Cabergoline for that. But for me, I'm just like, give me
all the Cabergoline in the world. It doesn't. It only works to a certain extent. I think these guys are doing Deca only cycles of 1,000 milligrams of Deca.
They're idiots.
And they're doing Trenbolone with it, and their prolactin is through it's like off the charts, and no one even goes for blood work.
No fucking good. You and I disagree on something, though, Dave.
Right.
They're like,
say
what's
that-
They're like, what's Caber? I'm like, oh gosh.
Dave, you
Cabergoline
always say
blocks the production of prolactin.
Yeah, I know.
Dave,
They don't know what it is.
You always
it's
told
really-
me Sten was not DHT. Sten is DHT. You say it's DM. You say
It's
wait, what did you say?
DHEA.
DHEA. No
Yeah.
way. I don't know. That's
Well, it's really-
look. I know I took Sten, and
I know my
fucking-
steroids. You know that, Greg.
I know
The
you do.
reason
But I
why a
got
lot of
hard.
people don't know, the reason why a lot of people don't know about like things as simple as Caber is because you got to start looking at where are they getting their information. Because oftentimes it's like you have these kids that are looking at individuals on social media, or looking at it at all the wrong places for information. Don't go to like a Dave. Don't go to someone that has trained athletes, that has had a long amount of time and experience and background that they can at least steer them in the right direction. That's why I tell, like, I tell my wife time and time again, because my son is into sports now more. And I was like, look, if he gets to the point where he's like, Dad, I want to use some performance enhancement drugs. I don't give a shit if he's 10, 13, 14, 16. I'm going to steer him in the right direction because I'd rather be the person to provide him that insight and it be safe than his friends that are probably not going to live because
I
they're
hope you tell him not to
Oh,
take
Greg.
it.
Greg, here's your proof right here.
What's you said
That
it
is
10 years
similar
ago.
to testoviron, but with a different dosing and the addition of DHEA. Specifically, this blend is made up of testosterone propionate, cypionate, as well as a steroid called dihydroepiandrosterone, better known as DHEA.
I believe you, Dave. You know I believe you. You know that. I just felt like, but Dave, fucking A, that shit made me. I got horny as hell with that. I got
Really?
fucking hard like a rock. I got very hard. Like,
Well, it was real. I mean, that was real stuff. That's why you probably took 400 vials of the stuff too, if I know
So
you.
Get on
cheap,
my top
too.
of my 6,000 fucking milligrams in my fucking whatever you call it, the sustenance, and forget about it. I was probably taking like 10 fucking grams of shit.
you were probably drinking that. You weren't even freaking injecting. You
So,
were
you know,
just
this is what Greg would do, guys. See, Greg would shoot, like, he'd take the bottle of propionate, it would 10 cc's, he'd draw the whole thing up, and he'd pop it in his arm. And then he'd draw the other one up and do it in the other arm. And then he'd be like, I got this stent stuff. I'll suck a few vials up. And he wouldn't put it in his arm. He would put it like in his ass or something like that. And then what would happen is he'd actually absorb the stent and he'd be like, holy mackerel, I feel this stuff. Meanwhile, the 10 cc's of propionate was probably stuck in his arm there because it was so big, you know.
Never
How
in
would
the
it-
ass, bro. Never in the
and
ass.
and the fact is that it never aromatized and all that other shit. It's
No,
crazy.
dude, I
man.
got no bitch tits. No bitch
He has
tits. My
nothing. He has nothing, yeah.
my balls were like fucking plums and shit. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have those.
Let me
little
go to
peanuts.
Larry. Larry, best cycle you ever did.
So pre-contest, I'd throw the whole kitchen sink in there: Tren, EQ, Primo, Anabar,
How much?
Winslow, everything.
Tell us dosages.
Not super high dosages. 300 milligrams of each injectable, and then small dose of orals. Never high doses, but I'd use a lot of different compounds pre-contest. That being said, the most effective cycle I had for putting on mass.
Yeah.
This was in 2009. I actually got 250 pounds lean, and I was taking 500 tests, 300 deca, and 50 milligrams of Anadrol a day. That was it.
That's
A
wild.
little bit of GH, and that was it.
What's a little GH?
Like 2-3 IUs.
Okay. And you felt that was your most effective steroid cycle?
All I can tell you is it was the biggest and strongest I've ever been. I squatted 820 pounds, bench 555, and I was 250 with really low body fat. Mendelsohn came out to see me and he says, "What the hell are you taking?" And I told him, and he didn't believe me because he would take high dosages.
Right.
But that's it. That's all I was taking. I was just pounding food and training really hard.
I got a juice question for you, Dave. I think you're the only one who can answer this.
Okay.
How come when me and my friend took Trent out of the same fucking bottle, okay? And my friend could take like fucking 200 milligrams of that shit, grow the whole bit. I took 50 milligrams and I had that fucking meatball in my throat where the trend cough and all this shit.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm fucking seeing my dog is talking to me when I'm sleeping, like all kinds of freaky dreams and shit. So what the fuck? How come he didn't get any of that shit? He never got no trend cough. I got trend cough in the same bar. Every time I can't take 50 milligrams, and I could not take that shit. What is that? Why did he not get it and I got it?
Because you injected into the blood vessel and he didn't.
Yeah, but Larry, I did it like every time.
I found, Greg, I found that because I have a friend of mine who it didn't matter how much Tren he took, he could take microscopic amounts of it and he would get severe diarrhea from it. It would mess up his whole digestive system because it's very high in androgens, and so it really amps up adrenaline release, norepinephrine release. So a lot of people get heart beating faster, high blood pressures, anxiety. They can't sleep at night from it. Some people get chronic hiccups from it. Everyone responds differently to it, and it's definitely dosage related. But some people, even the slightest amount like you took, just can't handle it. I don't know why, but
it was unfucking believable how he could fucking grow and have no problems, and I'm fucking over there with that meatball in my throat. You can't breathe and nothing. Like it was bad. I mean, it was pretty fucking. It was pretty bad.
You had a ton of other stuff in your system too. Maybe it was just too much combined with all the other crap.
No, this is before. This is after that. When I tried it. It was later on. I tried it. I wasn't taking actually anything. But it was bad. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? What? It's like demonic. You know what I mean? Like that shit was like demonic.
High androgens do not work well in a lot of people. It really screws them up.
You're talking to a guy who was an androgen junkie. I don't know if it was.
Well, you were a testosterone androgen junkie. Trenbolone is like 3 times or 4 times more androgenic than testosterone.
Yeah.
I took that the Sten one time, the little vials that you got in Mexico.
Yeah, that's what I took.
I think I just took like one shot, and my whole body hurt so bad for a week. It felt like all my tendons were going to break.
Propionate in there. You probably are sensitive to propionate.
How about this?
No, I could take prop, and no problem. It was something in the Sten.
You want to feel fucked up? I used to sell this shit Lutalace. Do you remember that, Dave?
I never got through a full bottle of it. I couldn't do it. It was
let me tell you something. A half a cc can send you to the emergency room. A half. Dave, am I bullshit or not? It's an abortion fucking thing.
Lutalace was a prostaglandin that someone wrote an article online about that it would cause localized muscle growth wherever you injected it. And
really?
Yeah, so it sounded like the perfect agent. And I actually had a doctor friend of mine order it for me. It wasn't a controlled substance. And we got this 30 cc bottle, and literally I couldn't. Who's making this noise? Is that Mr. G?
No, it's not me.
I'm muting him.
It's not me.
I couldn't get through. You're all kinds of noises are coming from your camera.
Not from me. No, it's somebody else.
No,
it's not me.
Every time
it can't be.
It goes away.
But
so anyway, Greg, I couldn't get through a bottle of it. I would take a shot after, like you were supposed to inject it into the body part you trained after you trained it.
Right.
And it would, first of all, the first symptoms you'd feel immediately was you'd feel like you had the worst case of the flu of all time. So you get nauseous and queasy, and then you'd have to go to the bathroom and basically poop your brains out for like another 20, 30 minutes. And then probably after about an hour, the nausea kind of wore off, but really not. And I did that for 20 days in a row. I couldn't get through the whole bottle. And I said, you know what? Nothing that makes you feel this good can really be that. And I wasn't gaining weight from it. I was actually losing weight because I was pooping my brains out. So I obviously.
But the theory is that I never took this shit because I don't like anything that makes you nauseous. And my friends would take it and tell me I can't get off the toilet because it's a cow abortion medicine. It's made to.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I would agree. I would probably. That's probably what it is. The cramps guys would get down, in their fucking intestines and all that shit. And let me tell you something. That shit was so brutal. It was supposed to create hyperplasia. That was the theory. That if you inject it didn't work. Believe me.
Yeah.
And I could do back in the day, I would do anything that I thought would build muscle. Like I could endure anything. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't gained a pound. I've done 20 days of this. I've had the flu for 20 days, basically. I feel terrible. I said, there's no way this stuff could be good for you. And I just stopped. Yeah, that was the end.
I had a question for you, Dave, because this was something that was always a topic of conversation, and I never really vouched for it. Is there such a drug out there for target treatments that there is medical data to substantiate that you use this particular drug and this particular lagging part, that yes, you would yield higher results in that particular area?
It's a good question, Richard, because a lot of people ask, wonder that. And, back in the day, we would spot inject body parts. So like if I was going to train chest, I'd maybe put a half cc of test in my upper pecs. If we're going to train arms, you'd put a half cc in each bicep, before you trained it. And I don't think that it actually caused localized growth, but what it did do is it caused swelling in that area.
Inflammation, yeah.
It enabled you to feel the muscle better in the gym when you trained it. So it kind of gave you a better mind-muscle connection. And I improved body parts doing that. And it was not a lot. It wasn't like, the synthol loading of like 3 cc's into muscle. It was literally like a half cc, but it was enough to create a little bit of irritation in that area that when you train the body part, I just felt it more. And I don't know if any of you guys experienced that.
No, I agree because a lot of people said about the whole inflammation. And I'm sorry, Larry, to interrupt. The only thing that I've heard consistently is spot injections of GH, because I've know a lot of athletes.
But that doesn't work because the GH is not the growth, is not causing the growth. The IGF-1 that the liver is producing is causing the growth. So you can inject the GH wherever you want. It's going into the bloodstream and it's going to go to the liver. So there's no localized growth from taking GH.
Right.
I spot injected fast acting compounds like NPP or trenacetate or Trenprobe.
Right.
And like Dave said, it gives like swelling and a little bit of a pump, but I don't think over time it's actual muscle that's growing there. It's just a feeling of it being full.
Yeah.
Because the muscle doesn't like all of a sudden stay bigger. As soon as you stop doing it, it doesn't do much.
I think if you hit a bicep with a hammer, it's gonna fucking get swollen and shit like that. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but I don't see it being local growth either in that sense. I do believe that the swelling. I know that when I did it because I didn't want to injection sites swell. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. I seen guys with asses like this and like fucking lumps and shelves on their ass. You know what I mean? Like a fucking shelf. I remember we went to dinner with Jay Cutler when we were when we all worked together at MD, and I kept telling Joe Pietro, look at the size of his ass, and they kept saying, stop looking at his fucking ass, because it was like, but I don't know, what's that? Hey Dave, what is that shit that they shoot? That's clenbuterol and yohimbine that you shoot directly into the fat, and supposedly it's spot. Helios, Heliox or
Helios. Yeah, Helios.
That stuff is not very dangerous. I don't like when they combine multiple compounds in one thing. I like to control all the variables. And yohimbe, believe it or not, causes fluid retention. It increases a pituitary hormone known as vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone. And so that causes fluid retention. So you really don't want to be taking that close to a show because it will definitely make you hold water. There's no such thing.
Boner. They give you a boner.
There's no such thing as localized, fat loss. They don't have any. If they had something that did that consistently, everyone would use it. There really is nothing that you can just inject into an area and you're going to lose fat. I mean, if there is anything out there, I challenge anyone to tell me about it. And because I haven't seen anyone use anything with any regularity that actually works.
Yeah, but Dave, there was a fucking IFBB Pro, is very popular. I'll tell you later because I don't want to mention his name here. But he was telling me, he was like, oh, no. Remember we used to talk in the 80s, if there was only something you could spot reduce and all this shit, well, now you can. And I was like, I never heard of it before. It wasn't around when I was around. You know what I mean? But he was telling me, yo, bro, you shoot that shit in your abs and they come out crisp and harder. And I'm like, okay. I never heard of it before. So that's why I'm asking you. I trust me.
Doesn't work.
If you inject insulin in the same spot over and over again, it'll actually cause you to grow fat in that area. That's proven in diabetics.
Yeah.
I believe that. That I believe.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Is anybody here familiar with GHB?
Yep.
Dehydrobolidone. So
I never used it, but I know what it is.
So they were promoting it on one of these boards, and everybody was saying it was the greatest stuff. It improves insulin sensitivity. You get super strong, all this and that. And I'm like, oh, this sounds perfect to use with GH. So I actually took it about a year ago, and the first 4 weeks, my strength went through the roof. Like everything I could do for 5 reps, I could do for like 8 or 10 reps. And then I think it was 8 weeks into it. First it was my lower back, then it was my knees, then it was my shoulders, then my elbows, then my whole body hurt so bad, I literally couldn't train. I thought I injured myself, but then I realized this is systemic. It's all over.
Causes a lot of inflammation, doesn't it?
I don't know what it did, but last year I had to smoke pot just to walk through the place because I was in that much pain. It was like Norcos weren't doing anything. And I only took it for, I want to say 10 weeks. After I stopped taking it, it took 6 months for that shit to go away.
Wow.
You're even shooting into yourself. I can't stress enough, and Greg, maybe you can back me on this, because think about it. There's anabolics out there that people have been using since the 80s, right? I mean, you have your standards, DECA, testosterone, Dianabol, Anadrol, Equipoise, Masteron. There's drugs that have been around and tested and people have been using for years. But then you get these guys that go online and they have to look for these esoteric anabolics that actually have been around but never made it to marketplace because they sucked or they had too many side effects to them. And then they start selling it to people like Trenbolone, which is which has men stuff, or you got that DHB stuff you just mentioned, Larry, or you got this what's that Superdrol. I mean, do they work? Yeah, but they had so many side effects, these drugs, that they never made it to marketplace. No pharmaceutical company wanted to make the stuff because there was just too many side effects. Yet people are using this stuff when they could just use the stuff that's been around forever that actually works great. We know.
I feel that those were liver killers. Those are all liver killers. Superdrol is a liver killer.
Oh, yeah, absolute super toxic. That's really good.
Trinestrol, which came from Brazil, and I didn't even know I used to get it. I don't know what the fuck it was, but guys would get like liver pains and shit on that stuff. It's not worth it. I mean, it really is not worth it. You know what I mean? I feel you stick with the basics, to be honest with you. You start,
They work, and we know what the side effects are of the basics.
Right.
I think when you're young, you always think there's something better. The grass is greener on their side. There's some new compound that's going to do something great. But as everybody gets older, it's just like the basics work. Like all this, the same stuff works. All this stuff they sell now, all the SARMs that these kids take, they think, safer than steroids. And I know it's not. You don't even know what this stuff does to you down the line.
Let me say something. So when I was on that board and everybody was saying how great this stuff is, the insulin sensitivity, strength, whatnot. And after all that happened to me, I went back on the board and I said, hey, I took this and my whole body hurts so bad, I can barely train. Has anybody else experienced this? And everybody's like, oh, yeah, it happened to all of us. No one talked about that when they were promoting the shit.
Maybe that's why they can't train hard.
Larry, they were trying to sell it. That's why they were selling.
They left that part out.
How about food? Just food and eat tons of food.
You know why these?
So I got the strongest.
Once again, you're terrible microphone.
It's food and Mr. G's cookies and
No, but think about it. The reason why this stuff is being sold now is because it's not on the controlled substance list technically. So people are selling it like gray market, and they have to pump it up or no one's going to buy it, right? So that's why they go on these boards and they pump the shit out of this stuff. They try to make it sound like it's the next greatest thing that they just discovered that no one knew about when it was been around for years already. And people try it and they're sucked into it because it's a marketing ploy, and it's sad because a lot of people are getting hurt because of these very toxic compounds, and there's no control over where these things are even coming from. Who knows who's even making them? You know,
they don't realize that even fucking too much Tylenol is going to destroy your liver. So what makes you think that a SARM or any of that other shit's like, oh no,
Well,
it's totally liver safe. Oh, I read it on the internet. No side effects. Bullshit. Tylenol will kill your liver. Fucking, Advil will kill your fucking kidneys. Am I right or wrong, Dave?
You're right. You're right.
That SARM is not going to fucking do anything to you.
7,000 people. 7,000 die from aspirin every year. 7,000.
It's only people that's taking the SARMs that selling the SARMs that says they're great. Like I always tell people, there's no top bodybuilders taking SARMs at all unless they're promoting it or selling it. Like I even tried them out before. I mean, all I got was the side effects and no gains. My hair thinned, my sex drive went down, and literally nothing happened. And I wasn't on stuff during this time. I was off gear probably 3-4 years. It was back in 2016. I tried it out, did a long run, did nothing. And then, people gain, of course, they're going to gain a little bit, obviously, but they don't understand. Like people aren't taking this stuff. The legit bodybuilders are not taking SARMs,
Armand, when I tell people take 1,000 milligrams of testosterone a week, and I tell them to combine it with, 400 or 500 milligrams of whatchamacallit a week, equipoise a week, and take, 3 IUs of GH a day, and take a half of Arimidex every other day, and that's a pretty good potent cycle that you're not going to get many side effects from. It's not toxic. You're going to get good gains from that. There's a reason I'm telling you to do that. I'm not conservative. If I thought more was better and it would cause, and you get better results, I would say take more. This is what I found works best, not only on me, but on countless people that I've used. That doesn't mean that everyone's using that amount. There's plenty of people that take a lot more, and there's plenty of people that take a lot less. I'm telling you through 30 years of experience what I see works best with the least side effects. And you know what? And the least health ramifications too. And if you don't want to listen to me, don't listen. But it's amazing how many young people you would think say, hey, you know what? Dave Palumbo's been doing this 30 years. He's been giving this. He obviously knows how to get big. He was 315 pounds.
It doesn't matter. You're 350 pounds ripped. It's like
but they'll still listen to the little jerk off on Instagram who's selling this stuff and is making himself out to be doctors anabolics on
you were eating 12 meals a day, 14 meals a day, Dave. 14 meals.
And you know what's crazy is that once the damage is done, sometimes, especially when it's an early age in which they start being influenced by these people that lack that real knowledge and years of background of experience, like you and several people are here in this panel, the damage is done, and it's sad because that's where you see these kids. It's like with like bitch tits and all these side effects when you could have just stuck with. It's like the saying goes: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If these products existed in the 80s and they're still going strong now, it's like just stick with the basics, man.
What about all natural? Natural.
I'm sorry.
Best anti-estrogen or best anti-gyno protocol that you guys ever used?
There's no reason a teenager should be doing any steroids or any anabolics at all. No way.
I like Arimidex. Aromasin doesn't work well for me at all. Femara dosages.
Yeah.
Off season, I think we do like one every third day or half of one every third day, and then pre-contest.
If you want to eliminate gyno, what was your best protocol?
When I was contest prep, I was having to do like 1 milligram a day towards the end because my nipples would get puffy easily, and I eventually had gyno surgery.
Yeah.
But Femara was too strong. That made me feel like I was a little flat. So and then Aromasin never did much. So.
Larry, best anti-gyno protocol.
Well, letrozole is the strongest for sure. If you have gyno, that's going to erase the gyno more than anything. However, that being said, Aromasin is easier on your lipids. It doesn't affect your lipids as bad as the Arimidex or the letrozole. So Aromacin would be probably your best go-to if you're just trying to manage estrogen. But if you actually have gyno or getting gyno, then letrozole is going to erase that quick. But
So you would pick letrozole over exemestane?
if you actually had gyno.
Aromacin is exemestane.
Okay.
Yeah.
So letrozole is the strongest for sure. It's stronger than any of them.
Letrozole is Femara. That's another name for Femara.
Yeah. I actually have a prescription for letrozole, and I have bottles of it, and I never take it.
Yeah. I always like the Arimidex best, but you know what? I found it does. If you get gyno, or you have gyno before you even start a little bit, it's probably genetic. It's like some women have big breasts, some women have small ones. Same thing with men. If you have the tissue there, you could take all the anti-aromatases. You can get your estrogen down to 0. You can get your prolactin down to 0, and you will still have tissue there. The only way to fix that is to get it taken out. Surgery.
You know what I noticed, Dave? Guys, young guys especially. First of all, no teenagers should be taking steroids. I don't think you should touch any of that over 21. That's my opinion. But I'm going to say something.
I agree.
Guys who have boys or men who naturally have big areolas, bigger nipples, like the areolas big. Mine were so small, they were like little tiny little things.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But anybody, a naturally large areola seems to always get gyno. I never got any gyno, and I didn't take any of that shit. I only fucked with letrozole a little bit when I was older.
We lost Greg. It makes sense that if your areola is bigger, because when you're exposed to estrogen, that'll make the areola grow. So I can definitely see that.
I think I got small ones.
I've never had gyno or any estrogen side effects, even when my estrogen was elevated. Yeah. I never break out. I don't get bloated. Yeah. I've never had gyno, but a kid I know, he was on I think it was 200 tests and 200 deca his first cycle, and immediately gyno after like 4 weeks.
Yeah, I took one shot of Sustanon and I had gyno, believe it or not. It was crazy. But I had glands there as a kid. I think they weren't like puffy, but I knew I could feel them because I had no body fat, but I had these I definitely felt like I had like some kind of like fat around my nipple area, and what it was probably just tissue, gyno tissue. And so when I took my first shot of Sustanon, forget about it. The next day I had gyno, I had big lumps under there, and I got it taken out immediately because I knew. I said, I'm not dealing with this the rest of my bodybuilding, life. This is coming out, and that's how I met Dr. Blau over in White Plains. And
so, in your training, what's the percentage that you say that steroids had to do with you growing, from the weight training, eating all those meals, and now you supplemented it with? Would you say it was like 5% of your physique?
No, I say 15 to.
Okay, so if you took that 15% out, 85, the major part was eating and training.
Yeah, absolutely.
And resting.
The problem is that 15% activates your body's ability to leverage all that eating and training and stuff like that. So maybe it really is a little bit more than that, but I'd say 15% is, and that's a lot. That's a big percentage of your bodybuilding, success. 15% is a pretty large amount when you think about it, because everyone's training and everyone's eating and everyone's resting and doing all the bodybuilding stuff. 15% changes you. I mean, look at natural bodybuilders versus guys that are not natural. I mean, there is a big difference, and that 15% does add up. The problem is if you don't have your eating and your training perfect, you can take all the anabolics you want. It's not going to do anything.
And now people don't. They're like, what's a substitution I can do for my shitty diet? What can I take to burn fat? It's not that they don't have their diet and training in order and then add the gear. They add the gear way before they have everything in order. And I try to explain to people, like, if you build a good base and then you start your gear and get even bigger, when you come off one day, because everybody has to come off you can still stay on a little bit of stuff. You're going to retain tissue. I tell people I can retain tissue off minimal stuff now because I got up to 240 naturally when I was 18. I was puffy as shit, but I was eating just half and half with my protein shakes, the Tex-Mex all day at my dad's restaurant. Build that base first before you touch any hormones. Then take your cycle or whatever. But people they just want it now. I'm like, you're not going to be able to hold on to that t-shirt. But like, well, trend works. Yes, trend does work, but it all goes away when you get off that trend. It will all go away. But I think, we all had plans. We had, I have a 10-year plan and I want to be 250 or 300 or whatever. Now there's no plan. That they want it exactly just immediately, and they don't care from 10 years from now, 5 years from now. They don't even think about that. So
But that's
really,
but that's more so the mindset of the world in which we live in. Yeah, like I want it now. Like people, and like the Gen Xers, the people that were raised in the era where media consumption was not so readily available as it is now, tend to have a bit more patience. Tend to like do a bit more research before they jump into into something. Whereas like before is like now, it's like, okay, I want to gain 31 pounds. Great, I can do it in a month. Great, who cares about my health?
Yeah. I mean, I get it's generational, but they just don't think one day, okay, I'm going to be 30 one day and I'm going to be 40 one day. And I try to explain to younger people, like, you're going to be 30 one day, then 40, then 50. Like, if you want to be the best bodybuilder you can be, do not take a laundry list of stuff your first show. If you cannot win a show off just testosterone, a local show, that you should probably be bodybuilding. And you're probably not going to have a good future in bodybuilding.
I'll tell you one thing. I remember when I went to Spain, I went to Barcelona back in 92 or 93, I think it was, because the Barcelona Olympics were in 92. And, the big thing was everyone was going into the pharmacies there and just buying anabolics. I mean, there's no prescription there. So my friend and I went to Barcelona. We flew there and with a wad full of cash. And we went into the pharmacies and we were buying stuff. And it was like a miracle, right? I mean, here we are in America, everything's illegal. And literally you can go into any pharmacy there on every corner. And I could buy vials of Winstrol. I could buy vials of Primabone. They were $2 a piece. I was buying, 20 Winstrol punch outs. They were like only 5 milligrams a piece, I think, or 2 milligrams a piece, but they were like $1.50. And they had bottles of Anadrol for $25 for 100. And I was buying all this stuff that came legitimately right from the pharmacy. And matter of fact, if the pharmacy didn't have it, they can order it and they would have it later that day delivered to the pharmacy for you. And we bought all this stuff and, we mailed it back to ourselves. Some of it got there, some of it didn't. And then, you sit home. I got all this stuff, real stuff finally, because everything was fake in the early 90s because of the change of laws. And I said, okay, now I can get huge, right? And I tried all this stuff. And most of the stuff I never used. The Anadrols maybe so I couldn't eat, so I hated those. The Primabone and Winstrol tabs were kind of weak, so I kind of didn't use those. So what did I use? I used we did get some Parabone because we drove to Andorra. It was kind of like right between Spain and France, and so I used some Parabones. I used the testosterone I had gotten. I used all the stuff I talk about today. And because that stuff worked, and all the other esoteric, extras that sounded great, now that I had them, I didn't even use them. I didn't even want them because they didn't make me feel good, and they had a lot of side effects. And so, I think the point that Armand is trying to bring home, and I'm secondarily backing up here, is use your basic stuff. If you can't grow off the basic stuff that has minimal toxicity and that has good strength, like testosterone, equipoise, DECA. I forgot DECA too. We picked up there too. Then you're not going to ever be able to grow. Taking Primabone because it's not around. Everyone's after Primabone now. Like even in the gym, guys come and say, Primabone, I need Primabone. I said Primabone is very weak, and you're paying a fortune for this stuff. And even if it is real, you're not going to grow very much from Primabone. It's like taking Anavar. It's weak. It's good for girls. You know what I mean? You're going to need to take testosterone, equipoise, DECA, or possibly Trenbolone if you want to put size on. But there's no other magical anabolics out there that you're missing and that you're going to dig up from the ground and you're going to say, "Look what I found." You guys didn't know about this in the 90s and 2000s. Guess what? There's no new steroids out there. They're all the same. They work the same. But you got to put the work in. You got to eat the food, and you got to bust your ass in the gym. I have guys telling me all the time, "Oh, you know, I had a tough weekend. I had work and I missed 2 meals every day." I'm like, "Well, why? Then blame yourself." I had another guy he's a good guy. He went to a show this past week and he ate all junk food, pizza and this and that. I said, don't cry to me that you didn't bring your food with you, because you know what? I can order healthy food in any restaurant I go into, including Kentucky Fried Chicken. So you chose the wrong food. So people make excuses. You got to make sure that your eating is 100% on point, that your training is on point, that your rest and recuperation is on point. And when you do that and you throw a little bit of anabolics into the mix, you're going to see some amazing results that you can't even believe. But you got to get the other stuff down pat first.
You're the only guy, Dave, I ever saw that ate perfect ever.
Because I didn't want to leave that out. I didn't want that to be
every single meal was like perfect. I remember Colette making the stuff when you were doing the show. Yo, here, Dave, eat.
But forget everything. That. When later in my career, I wasn't even when I first started, I used to make all my own food. Like when I was in the in the 90s coming up, because I was so nervous that I would miss if I missed one meal, I was like, I would have like anxiety from it, because I didn't want to miss gaining muscle. You know, anything that would, if I was driving a car and I had a near miss, you know, how someone jams their brakes on and you jam your brakes on and you get that feeling in your chest, I would be so upset because I would think that I released cortisol and that I was going to lose muscle because of that. That's nuts.
Also,
I mean, everybody that was serious, you didn't miss meals. You would stay up till 3 o'clock, barfing your food up to get it down. That's a bodybuilder. That's a real bodybuilder, not someone that can inject 10 mLs or whatever a day. A real bodybuilder does not miss their meals. They get their workouts in unless they're overtrained. And that's what people that don't understand. Like, oh, I can't eat 5 meals a day. Yes, you can. Everybody can. You just can't do it. How are you going to eat 6 meals and 7 meals? And sometimes people eating 9 meals a day. It can be done because people do it. You just don't have the heart to do it. But I love bodybuilding. I'll do anything. No, you won't, because you're not doing that, you know?
Look at Nick Walker. Nick Walker eats perfectly. He says he hasn't missed a meal in like years. And it shows.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
Never misses a meal, never misses a training session.
Stays really lean. I think he has to stay lean. I couldn't picture him with, like, you know how we used to get, maybe Dave didn't, but like fluffy in the stomach and all that. Like he never gets that way. He's always lean.
Well, I saw him over 300 pounds when I first met him before he turned pro, and he wasn't lean, but he already put that size on.
Yeah.
So he's no longer trying to get bigger necessarily. He's got the size. He's just trying to now maintain that and bring up a few weak body parts and keep his waist as small as he can. But he did his bulking phase when he was young.
Yeah. Nothing is, I mean, this quad sweep, maybe a little bit, and, you know, maybe the chest, and not much bigger he can get on his frame.
All right. I got a news story. Just hit the news here. Let me pull it up. Swimming. Greg, you'll love this one. The swimming world, the international governing body for swimming, announced Tuesday it will start an open category that includes all transgender athletes after the body joined several other sports organizations and issued restrictions on transgender women last year. So they're going to have a new category. It's like where they allow anything and everything.
For Frankenstein. Frankenstein.
This open category for swimming events, allowing competitors whose gender differs from their birth sex to participate.
Who has a mental disorder? Let's have a contest for bulimia and anorexia too.
So does that mean that they're not going to have the transgenders competing in the women's swimming?
Right. And they announced last year they announced that they prohibited from the women from swimming in the or transgender women from swimming in the women's sports. So now they're making this new category. So if you want to swim, they can swim. It's just going to be a different division now.
That's
you know what? That's fair.
Smart.
Because just because you are a loser as a male and swim, then all of a sudden like you've beaten the girls and you're proud of it, just because you cut your cock off.
Do they take the gold medal away? That's
no, but Greg, this is going to be a separate category. It'll be a separate category now.
Yeah, but
these barbarians are promoting it. Going to promote it to kids. These whacked out people. They want kids to cut their balls off and little girls to cut their breasts off. These people are deranged. I don't care what you say.
But
They're
what I wanna know-
they're out of their minds,
but now
and they're promoting it.
do they
I
give
was in
the
the locker
gold?
room.
Do they give the gold medal back to the girls, or does that kid still hold? There's fucking.
No, they took it away. They gave it to the girl. They gave
So
it to the
Leah
girl.
Thomas no longer is the
Right.
leading college girl swimmer.
Right. Right.
All right,
Correct.
good. Then that's
Yeah.
a great
Good.
move.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's
then
a good move. Then
Yeah, that's
about
a good move.
time.
I went into the locker room today at the gym, in the man's locker room, like I always go into because I'm a man. And
Okay.
I swear that there were two transgenders in there that were originally had been women that converted to men, because the one looked, had the body type of a woman and had like purple hair, and and then there was another guy who was kind of like, I kind of knew he looked like a guy, but he has, how like women have a certain type of hair, it's really dense, much denser than men's hair.
Right.
And she had it cropped. I'm pretty sure it was a woman that was also was a transgender. So they're all over the place. I mean, I'm shocked at how many people I'm seeing, even in Florida. Like Florida's pretty conservative, where I am, and it's
Texas too.
I really think I don't believe that all of these people are actually transgender. I think, like Greg said, I think it's more of a fetishy thing that for some
I think
Social media, Dave. Social media, and that's what they're promoting. At the end of the day, all you wackos. No regular. First of all, if a guy wants to be a girl, no regular guy.
People wackos. You look like
No regular. I'm a regular guy. I'm a real man. I'm an alpha male. I'm a male. I got a penis. I'm a man. Any man that cuts his speckle off. Listen, no guy. You're not. No gay guy is going to be with you, and no regular guy. So you're screwed. Nobody wants. As soon as they find out, end of story. The reverse is the same thing. They have something wrong psychologically. They need help. It's something wrong in the brain, and we have an administration that's promoting it to try and divide people to go after the kids. That's what's happening. 100% fact. Don't care what you say. Go on the street. Ask anybody the same thing if they have the balls to speak up. Well, we do. No, you're not doing it. Wrong.
He's right.
Wrong.
Did you hear Obama's chef died, like drowned or
I saw
something?
that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's weird, right?
Couldn't
He
he
talked
not
shit about
swim,
Hillary
right?
Clinton.
And he's swimming.
That first of all, thank God it wasn't Chef Rush. I thought it was like that. I thought that was the guy they were talking about. But there was another guy who cooked for Obama in the White House, and he was swimming like outside his mansion over in what's it called, where the Kennedys are in Hyannisport up there.
Right.
But couldn't he like not swim, or wasn't a very good swimmer or something like that?
I don't know. He obviously drowns.
He was swimming with
Sounds
Hillary
suspicious.
Clinton.
Maybe he
probably
knew
sounds
something.
suspicious.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
Oh, so then that's most likely cardiac arrest, because it's like seeing Hillary Clinton naked. Shit, I'll probably catch a fucking heart attack.
Who's got a TV playing in the background? I hear a TV playing or something. Does anyone have the show playing in their background there?
Not me. Hey, Dave, by the way, I just saw a big giant tortoise about 2 feet just crawl out of the bushes right in front of where my car's
probably
parked.
a gopher tortoise. They're protected. Don't touch them. You'll get arrested.
No, I'm not going to.
It's
No, I would. I thought the dog was going to go after him. I would have had to jump out of the car and save the turtle from the dog.
you got the dog with you?
No, I'm saying that people. No, where I'm at, I'm at this big, huge, state Ponce Inlet Park, and you could drive a regular car on the beach here. That's how hard the sand is. It's part of like Daytona, sort of. Daytona's got like probably about 20 miles of beach that you could drive on. It's unbelievably beautiful. One of the best spots in the world I've ever been in my life, anywhere. You could fish on the other side, stand up. Which, by the way, the other side they have a spot called the Shark Shallows. That's where the sharkies really are. Not really where I am.
Are you going in there?
I'm going to go in after we're done. I just surf for about a half hour, and I'm going to go back in and surf. But I'm not going in there's no waves on that side.
I went to Iguanaland. Greg, you'd love this place. It's
I love
my friend Ty Parks owns it. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's pretty cool. And I was playing with this tortoise yesterday. Look at the size of this guy. That's an Aldabra tortoise. This thing is like, those things live to
Oh, man.
These things live to 200 years old. This thing is
Wow.
bigger than I am.
Have you ever seen tortoise like have sex in Jungle Island here in Miami Beach? I remember taking my son. It was like about a year ago. When I just got to like Miami, straight out of prison, right? Like September 29th, September 30th. If I went in there, it's like the male tortoise is like he has like that little screech, like And here we are walking all around Jungle Island, and I'm like, what the fuck is that sound? And it's funny as hell because it looks like 90-year-olds fucking. Like he just makes one move, makes the screech, and then he just stops. And it's funny how they have sex, man. It's probably like one of the most common.
It falls off, Rich? Or,
No, it's
or
one of the most. No, it's
They
one of the
get on
most.
each other's backs and they hump each other. These things live so long. I have
There's a
two
tortoise who's
sulcata
alive that was alive when Abraham Lincoln. Did you ever see that old tortoise? They show it on TV.
They're over 100 years old.
It was alive when Abraham Lincoln was president. I mean, it moves really slow, but it's still alive.
They're trying to figure out.
I'll show you.
That's a long ass time, bro. When Abraham Lincoln was president, this tortoise was walking around, and it's still alive to this day.
Right. It's crazy, right?
That's only a tortoise, I think, can live like that. It's fucking. I don't know of any other animal, like a live animal. I mean, that's not a tree or something like that. But I mean, I don't know of any other animal that could live as long as a tortoise. I got two of them. Not tortoise, but I got red ear sliders. In my tank over here. Those fucking things.
That's why I mentioned it to you.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
me and you are into the same shit.
Yeah.
But you got the ones like Rocky Balboa?
Yeah, no, they're big. My tortoises are big, man. They can fucking eat they eat big fish.
My tortoise will eat 3 heads of lettuce a day. That thing.
Wow.
Wow.
And I had them since he's the size of a quarter, and now they're like, I got to build an outdoor enclosure for them. They're so big now they can't even fit inside anymore.
Me too. Mine were the size of a quarter, and they're pretty big. But they're red ear sliders. They're not tortoises. You know what I mean?
Yours are turtles. These are land tortoises. I have some red eared sliders too, but these guys have to go outside. I got to build them a whole enclosure, and I got to get them a dog house so they can go in at night, so the predators don't kill them.
You're gonna get them a leash too. Walk them on a leash
and the funny thing is, these things will outlive me for sure. They're only 6 years old. They'll live for 120 years. These things. Wow. My son's gonna have to take care of them. His sons will have to take care of them. So
you're right. Your great grandsons will have to take care of that shit. I'm telling you.
They'll say my great-grandfather, Dave Palumbo, they called him Jumbo. He was a little crazy, but he was that's where these turtles came from, No,
we're going to be able to live that long. We're going to figure out from the tortoises the DNA.
I won't be around.
Hold on, I'll be around. The DNA strands, your DNA strands, at the end of your DNA, the strands break off. That's what they're finding with the tortoises. They don't break off.
Yeah.
Well, Dave,
my gecko. How to keep those strands going.
Dave, that gecko you named me died. You know that, right? My gecko. I named him Dave after you. It could have been a female. I don't know. But I called it Dave. He died.
I keep telling you, I got to send you. I want to send you like a Dave Palumbo snake, so you have like a ceremonial snake of mine there.
My girlfriend loves that shit. She would love it.
You want a boa or you want a ball python? What do you want?
Whatever you want to say. Do I have to feed it live rats though?
You can buy frozen thawed and feed it that. Yeah, you can defrost them and just wiggle them and they.
What about crickets?
No crickets for snakes.
What about hamburgers? Hamburger meat?
Dave, I'll send it. Whatever you got, I'll take it. I'll put it in.
I'm gonna send you a snake. I'm gonna ship it to you. You got to make sure you have a tank with a heat mat on it and all that stuff. So
yeah, I have heat. I have that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's under his desk. It's under his desk.
It's in the other room.
Yeah, it's in the other room. Yeah.
No, it's under the table heating his saggy balls probably stuff like that. He's probably 96 years old.
I heard they like Fruit Loops too.
Dude, Dave gave me a gecko living in a Tupperware, right?
It was amazing. I couldn't believe how big the thing got when you showed me that
Oh yeah,
picture.
you gave me. You know why, Dave? Because you were feeding it that little food bullshit, whatever that mush was that
Yeah,
you
the
gave me.
Pangea stuff. Yeah.
I started giving it live fucking crickets and shit, and that thing grew
Ah.
jacked. It got all fucking from eating me. Its head got big and everything.
Hey, when we were, me and my brother were 8 and 7 years old. We had our own circus. We went to pet store and you could buy little alligators.
Right.
Oh,
Little
Really?
yeah, little tiny alligators. We had,
Oh my
and we
God.
had a. That was our first thing of selling, and we went around knocking on all the kids' doors, selling tickets to come to our circus in our mom's garage.
You should have released them in the fucking like local reservoir. Those
They all
fucking things-
died. They died because we left them in the garage too long. Sorry,
No.
sorry, God. Sorry, I'm making up for it. We didn't know. We were young.
See that Jason Aldean's or that country song, Jason Aldean, everybody's going crazy about.
Oh yeah, that's a great song.
I just saw that
Yeah.
online earlier.
Hold on, I'm sending. Romano just got home. Can you believe it? This guy
From where?
from he was in traffic, I guess.
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
When I was a kid, I had a pet rattlesnake. I brought it to school to show
No
it.
way. Only you, Larry.
Yeah.
Larry, you know Did you
I
know
put-
it was venomous?
I used to carry it around. It was a little one. I put him in
It was afraid of Larry, petrified.
I put him in my locker, and the kids
Someone's got
realized
something
during
terrible
class
like that.
when they kicked the locker, it would start rattling. So then someone told me they were going to come take my rattlesnake. So I took it in that little bag that I had in, and I put it off the school grounds. And then the principal called me in, and he said, "Hey, why don't you bring what'd you do with the snake?" I said, "I took it out of the school." And he said, "Well, why don't you bring it back and we'll put it in an aquarium so all the kids can see it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I brought it in and we went to the science class, and I put it in the aquarium. And about 2 minutes later, the dog pound came and animal catcher, whatever, and took it away.
They set
And,
you up.
and they took, yeah. And then I went to the principal's office, and I said, "What did you do? You killed my snake." He goes, "You can't have a pet snake." I'm like, "It was my pet snake." So basically, he lied to me to take my snake away.
He set you up.
How old, Larry? What age?
13, 12.
Holy!
There he
How
is.
the fuck did you get that thing? However, you just picked it up
I used to catch them out in the hills where we
Because-
by
live.
hand. By hand?
No, I would put a stick over it, and I'd put a stick over their head, and then I'd get it.
Larry was fearless, obviously.
But
John, where you been?
But after a while, I had him, and I could hold him, and I could carry him around.
Oh, really? And they wouldn't bite you?
He bit me once. My hand turned a little bit numb, but that was about it. But
You're
not,
lucky.
yeah. But no, I used to carry him around.
You could have died from that thing.
I don't think I don't know. He bit me once. Like I said, my hand got a little numb in one spot, but that was it.
There ain't nothing killing Larry. Nothing.
What's up, John?
What's up?
Where you been?
I had a Jimmy the Bull morning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
it wasn't good. Well, I had a Botox appointment at 11, so I figured I could get down there and back plenty of time. I'm at my staff meeting. Well, it was actually 10:45. So then they called me and they said, "We can't take you till 12." And I said, "All right, I can make it in 12 and get back by 1 because it's just 30 minutes, right?" So I call up there to make sure they're in the same place because my wife said they moved. They might have moved. And since the last time we were there, they did move since the last time we were there. And I didn't have the address. So I called them up and then they didn't have me. They didn't have my appointment. They didn't have an appointment for me. They didn't have an appointment in my wife's name. There was no appointment. So she says, "Come in anyway. Come in at 12 and I'll squeeze you in." I get there at 12. I get there earlier than 12. I get there at probably 9:45 of, right? Sitting in the waiting room, almost signed in. I got to sign this waiver that I'm not going to die, blame them if the botulism kills me, and whatever. And I'm sitting there, and sitting there and sitting there. Now it's like 45 minutes goes by, and I'm like, there, she's just a little backed up in there. I go, a little backed up. 10 minutes is a little backed up to me. 15, okay. You start encroaching on, you start passing 20, 25 minutes. You're winding down my clock, you know, and it's like, I'm here to give you money, and you're gonna make me fucking wait 45 minutes. I waited 50 fucking minutes for that.
Wow.
To come in.
How come when I get Botox, I have like red welts all over my head? You got no welts
right
whatsoever.
here. I got here, 2 here. They're up there, welts there. Look,
it doesn't really look that bad.
Yeah, why do you need Botox anyway, John?
Ask my wife.
Oh, she wants you. Okay, she wants you to do it. Yeah, do I need Botox? Hey, will Botox do anything for me?
No, the wrinkles. You got to get it before the wrinkles are there.
I think you need a sandblaster.
You need lotion. You need lotion, man. You look like you're dry as fuck.
No, I got.
So then on the way home, there's this truck that's got this thing in the back. I don't know what it is. It's on a pallet, and it's on the back of this big flatbed truck, and it's bouncing around, and one of the straps is like flopping in the wind, and it's whipping around loose, and it's like whipping. It's like 27 feet long, and it's like one of those big streamers that the Japanese use in the Olympics, you know, and it's flapping all over the place, and I'm on my motorcycle, and I'm like, this is gonna kill someone. So, so I pull back, and I'm trying to get around. The wind blows, this fucking strap things come around. Then all of a sudden, I'm getting ready. I got my entrance. I'm gonna squirt between these 2 cars, and I'm gonna be rid of this motherfucker, and I'm gonna be out in the open. I get between the 2 cars. I launch. I get to the right. I get it, and then I go up. It's going uphill. I get to the crest of the hill. Brake lights everywhere. You can see dead stopped everywhere, and that's where I sat in this fucking heat. And
I've heard enough of these stories from you that I would swear you live in Brooklyn, New York, or something like that. You're in more traffic in South Carolina than any. I thought there is no traffic in South Carolina.
That's the myth. But what happened was everybody else thought that, so they said, "Okay, I'm going to leave fucking New York, and I'm going to come to South Carolina." And everybody in Connecticut, New Jersey, New Hampshire.
You're always in traffic. Every time I talk to you, you're in traffic.
And then since COVID, you got all these fucking people here, right? They're doing God knows what. COVID comes, everybody starts working from home. COVID ends, and only half the people went back to work. The other half are still working from home. So now you've got an infrastructure and a road system that's made for a little tiny town the way this place was 15 years ago. Single lane roads, no turn lanes, all of that shit. Antiquated. They're just getting to their freeways right now. I widening those 2-lane freeway. Needed 3, 4, and they're just putting 3 in now. So HOV lanes, all of that shit didn't exist 5 years ago. And they're cramming it all in now to try to get the infrastructure to keep up with the onslaught of people moving here. There's tons of fucking people here. When I got here 5 years ago, you never saw a tag from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere. Never. Now you go to the mall, not the mall, parking lot of the shopping center. Fuck everywhere. New York, New Jersey.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask this question. Why would if people are leaving New York, why are they stopping in South Carolina? Why don't they go all the way to Florida?
The cost of living is way less here than Florida.
Oh.
You get a lot for your money here if you want to live in the country, and not that there's none of that in Florida. You can go like where my mom lives in Citrus County up north in northern Florida, and there's all kinds of places up there. But
that's not even Florida. I don't think. That's like
it's not even going to look like Florida.
It's like a separate state.
And you still get like a winter here, it gets cold and people like seasons and all of that. And the mountains, North Carolina is right next door. You can go to the mountains like all the time. So I don't know. It's a nice place to live. I like it here, except for how much it's grown. If everybody would just go back home, I would love it even more.
Yeah. How far are you from south of the border?
The shirt.
What did you say, George?
How far are you from south of the border?
The surf
place south of the. No, south of the border, that place there.
Town south of the border.
That town with the big some. You ever heard of south of the border where they sell all the fireworks?
Yeah, I stopped there. Yeah, it's great.
In South Carolina?
I never heard of it.
You never heard of south of the border?
Get out of here!
I can see the image of a big sombrero, but I just thought that was something.
They have like 100 signs. starting 200 miles away.
Yes.
Yo.
Coming from north or south.
Yeah, coming from north. Yeah, you're getting closer south to the border, right?
From going where?
100
I didn't
From
know
New
it was
York.
a town until I passed through it. and stopped
Driving
there.
which way? Through Georgia or from North Carolina?
I think it's between North and South Carolina, John.
It's South Carolina. It's the halfway point to Florida.
Huh.
So it's the halfway point to the county.
You know why? Because
state
every
lines.
time I go up that way, it's on a different road because I'm going to Charlotte. So
Yeah.
There's a big amusement park up there that's like one side of it's on North Carolina and the other side of it's on South Carolina. You can stand in both states.
I mean,
Driving me crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's not me. I muted myself to make sure. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's not me at all either.
Not me, George. Yeah, it's
not me.
It's definitely
Not me. Not me.
You sound terrible. You
Who,
sound
me?
terrible the whole show.
George?
Yeah, it's George.
Yeah, because he's always got to be at the beach or someplace. He can never be in his house. Like
I've been in my house the last.
that's why you had a good
4
connection
months.
the last 2 weeks. Yeah,
I know, but I had to go surf. There's no waves. I had to surf.
George,
You're-
in January, I'm going back to Portugal. I'm going to Nazaré Beach to watch the giant wave surfing contest.
Are you gonna watch the
Where they got the
My
100
friends-
waves, breaking
Yeah.
behind the White House. Yeah, I'm going there.
Oh, awesome! My friends are in it. From New York, the Scooten brothers.
They're gonna
Will
surf.
Scoot.
They're gonna surf that monster.
Yeah. There's probably about 50 guys in the world who now actually they don't tow in anymore. You know, they actually paddle in.
You can't paddle in on that.
They
thing.
paddle in, John.
No
John.
way. I want to see a
John,
video. I want to. That wave is moving 30 miles an hour.
John, they paddle. John, I'm telling you, John, they paddle in.
Nazaré, I got to see it.
Yes, they have there's new wetsuits that they have that have these little compression chambers in it that they hold 3 of them, that when you get held down, because you get pushed down like 30 feet, like in about 3 seconds.
There's no fucking way anybody's swimming into the wave at Nazaré. No.
Yeah, they all
way.
go look. I'm telling you.
Dave, put up what that looks like for 1 minute and see. You can tell me if you're going to swim into that.
All right, hold on.
Well, paddling. That's what, and they got
Paddling.
they got guys on jet skis, guys on skis that come and save them.
Yeah, but they're not. Aren't they? They're not towing them in.
No.
Are they taking?
No.
Are they taking them out?
It's absolutely well.
How are you paddling out? Is
They go through a channel. So they take a boat out through a channel, and they go out through the channel. They go off the boat, and then there's skis out there. Now where the cliff is. If you're facing the ocean to the right is an actual beach. Sometimes they'll get washed all the way in there. You know, you don't want to, but
so are they getting towed out to the?
No, they're taking a boat out. They're not getting towed out. They're on these
they
boats.
jump off a boat and they're doing into that.
And they paddle in. Yeah.
You got to play that video with the lighthouse in the foreground. It's fucking.
Yeah, I've done that, but I think we did that last
Oh
week.
yeah, we did. That's right. Yeah. Getting old.
All right, well, John, I'm sorry you were late, but
wait a minute, Richard Rodriguez, back to the.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, we were.
Dude,
Did you get fired? What happened?
I miss you, man. It's like when I did the project. It was a short-term project in the solar industry. Did what I had to do. Got some good money. It was also just like I was telling Dave in the beginning. It was really more so a tactic of trying to like get somebody out of a former project that I was involved in. So now that the guy is no longer involved, I'm getting back into the industry in a bit. So I now have some free time. I got, by the way, John, I got back with the missus. I've been with her now for 24 days. We bought a place, and for 24 days, my son is seeing me now every single day, man. So all the pieces I've wanted to accomplish when I got out, that was the missing piece. So I'm now back with her.
That's awesome.
And doing great, man.
Yeah, I've been doing 75 hard for the last 24 days. It's kind of like the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Smith is hysterical. He's like, Greg's Windows 98 laptop battery died.
You know what I find sad, Dave? Is that probably 300,000 subscribers? How many?
Yeah, over that. Yeah, over.
Oh, it's over 3 something, right?
Yeah.
Out of all of those people watching, and I'm making an appeal at it to you guys, and it's only because of the community it would represent if this actually happened. But we as a group complain about Georgie and Greg's equipment like every week, right? Normally, am I off by a little bit? No, every week, right? Okay, so now one person stepped up to the plate out of 300,000 fucking people. One person stepped up to the plate and gave Greg a new phone. Remember that?
Yeah.
He
used it. Yeah.
Okay. And he didn't use it because it somehow caused trouble with his girl because he used the iPhone.
Because he didn't want to have to post his own social media stuff. That's why.
Right. So what that has done is that has ignited a hailstorm of resistance to anybody else stepping forward and helping Georgie out. So now I just want to make it clear that if any of you guys watching this show want to improve the quality of the show and help out George Smalley over here, you're not going to get treated like Greg treated you, is all I'm going to say. He will accept your gift, and although he's not going to know how the fuck to use it, he'll try. I can guarantee you that, right, Georgie? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I was on my laptop. I'm gonna get new stuff anyway. I'm getting to draw a whole bunch of new stuff. So trust me. So I can film outside, film on location. You know, not like.
His connection's actually not bad, John. He's in a bad location. So the Wi-Fi is not great there. But.
So why is his chest? Are you going into like a rodeo clown?
He looks like the guy from Braveheart. Remember the Braveheart costume?
The what? No, he looks like we're going to do a rodeo. He's like the rodeo.
No, remember in Braveheart where they painted their faces?
Oh yeah.
I did Braveheart on the show once. Remember?
That was
But they have the kind that rubs in, so it's like clear.
Yeah. So this sunscreen here. This is the zinc oxide.
Dave,
it's like a paste on your skin, so it doesn't come off in the water.
I went to Gyno Land yesterday for 2 hours. I was burnt to a crisp. You got to wear that stuff, especially in the water, because you'll get killed. The sun is unbelievably strong down here.
I also wear a rash guard too. That protects me.
It's not like New York. If you go in the water, you can be in there for 4 or 5 hours. You do that down here, you're dead. You will die. You'll have third-degree burns.
It's a fucking alligator brutal. Why?
Forget the alligators. The sun will destroy you down here.
No, there's no alligators here, but in Costa Rica there is.
All right. I know John's still juiced up, but I'm out of it.
You know, it's interesting to come on the show 2 hours late.
Yes.
See,
like we're all winding down.
We're all like my energy level's way up here, and you guys are all like.
I can't do enough stimuli to keep myself going at this point.
Let John take the show out. John, take the show out.
John, you can do a final rant on.
You know what? My final rant is. I want more people to strive for excellence. I want everybody to get that in your head, is that you should not be just punching the clock, cashing a paycheck, doing the minimum, just getting by, only working so you can train. None of that shit. If you're doing something, I don't care if you're a fucking plumber, a janitor, a heart surgeon, a writer, or a comic, whatever. Fucking care about what you do and try to be excellent and exercise your brain to do things that help you be a better, just better all the time, better every day. Because Georgie will tell you, how many days we got on this earth, Georgie?
Days today could be your last. Live as though every day is your last, and learn as though you're gonna live forever, ever. My son just got me this book, The Constitution, by the way.
Oh, good. You should read that.
I am.
All right. So
I got
anyway,
something to say,
I'm on day 28 of Andy Frisella's 75 hard. You know what that is? No.
Go, Jimmy. No.
75. It's this program. You know who Frisella is, right? You know who that is.
Yeah, Tony's a cool guy, man. Andy.
Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
Fucking loaded too, man. First form supplements. Anyway, he's got this program 75 hard. What you got to do is you got to do no cheating on your diet, whatever diet you're going to follow. No cheating on your diet. This is 75 days straight. 2 45-minute workouts a day. One of them has to be outside, no matter what the weather, no matter what.
Hold on. Why are you doing this, John?
It's a challenge. It's for like mental toughness. It's not really a physique thing, although.
Yeah.
But my wife wanted to do it, and I said I'd do it with her. So we're both doing it. It's easier when two people are doing it at the same time rather than fucking the system. So 2 45-minute workouts, no drinking alcohol. You can smoke weed though, thank God. If you got to read.
Why is weed allowed but alcohol is not allowed?
I didn't write the program.
He likes to smoke.
I was told
kind of like a little hypocritical. You can smoke weed, but you can't do anything else.
I was told not to question the program, just follow it. Although Priscilla was a pothead too, so that's
yeah.
good.
I was going to say, that automatically canceled it out in my head. Now I can't follow it.
So no alcohol. You got to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, at least 10 pages a day. You got to drink a gallon of water a day. You got to take a progress picture every day. And if you don't do any of these things, if you fuck it up, you got to start all over at day one. Yeah. So the idea is to just be regimented and do your 2 workouts, rain or shine, one of them outside, get everything done, stay on your diet, no cheating, no drinking, keep up on your reading, drink the water. And it sounds like, pretty much what we do anyway, kind of, it really didn't augment my life that much, but you know what? The grind, the no let up, the no break in training, the no break in the diet, no cheating. That's the thing that is kind of I haven't done in a long time. It's gone a stretch like more than a week without a cheat. You
know what, John? I'm going to make a comment, my own rant commentary in response to this. Live every day of your life in a regimented manner, meaning that you have certain responsibilities, do them. If you train 5 days a week or 4 days a week, do it. If you eat right, try to eat as healthy as you can every single day. Try not to miss meals. If you do this on a daily basis, you don't have to do these like superlative like challenges where, okay, you know what? I've been a lazy shit for 6 months, and now for the next 12 weeks, I'm going to follow this program. And then after that, I'm going to go back to being a lazy shit again because I earned it because I did those 12 weeks. You know what? Live every day like that. And you know what? You'll never have to do these cleanses and these challenges and these, light a fire up my asses. You got to make that your everyday life. If that's, I don't compete anymore, but I still have a very regimented way that I live because I want to be as healthy as possible. I want to look good. I don't want to look like I'm 80 when I'm 80. I want to look like I'm 50 when I'm 80. So you got to live it every day. You can't just do it in little spurts and little challenges when you feel like it's great to get you motivated, but I think what these challenges do is they're too extreme, and people think either you have to be extreme or you have to do nothing. And they don't realize that there's a middle ground that you got to find. And that's, as you get older, you should find that middle ground so that you can do it all the time and reproduce it on a daily basis.
Well, I agree with that completely. But I think the thing about the challenges is it kind of compartmentalizes and structures a base point to start. Because, we get off track. I mean, look, dieting for a bodybuilding show it's fucking torture. And when the show's finally over, what do? You eat and pig out and, very few people stay really, really, really in shape all the time. It's always like this. And sometimes when you kind of like fall off of that, it's like, I'm not going to get ready for a show. I'm not going to take that an extreme approach, but I've definitely noticed my productivity is not what it should be. My adherence to my structure is not what it should be. I have a lot of room for improvement, and I want to live every day on the earth like it's my last and cram everything in that I can possibly do and be motivated to, tick off the boxes and not procrastinate in between. Get up, get the cardio out of the way, get out to the shop, work on bikes for 4 hours, then go do some office work, get on a podcast, and boom, 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 chop up the day so that I'm busy, man, all the whole day, getting the most out of it, being the most productive, and consequently feel the most satisfied that I've, gotten the most out of that day that God gave me. So, the challenge, I think the challenge is good in a sense that it creates or reinforces or reinvigorates a structure that maybe you used to have that maybe is even more extreme.
Yeah, it's too extreme, John, and then people fail at it because who can train 45 minutes twice a day? Who has that time? People got to go to work. It's not a realistic challenge.
That's not a lot of time.
You don't work, so you don't. It doesn't matter to you. People have to go to work.
But see, that's the whole point. That is the whole point.
Like I make it 3 times to the gym a week. Like that's really all I can do right now, and that's hard for me. And
but see, that's the point of this. The point of this is not to how you can get your physique to improve. The point of this is to figure out how to do it. Figure out how to get it all in. It's possible. It's absolutely possible if you try. You've have had a job and worked through a bodybuilding contest, or people with kids go compete. There's a way to do it. If you're motivated enough, if you think hard enough, and you're resourceful enough, you'll figure it out.
Well, why can't you go train once a day? Why do you do twice a day? Because what I find is when you give people extreme things to do, they
I
fail.
don't think it's that extreme, to be honest with you. I really don't.
He's
Go to the
breaking it
gym
up.
twice a day for 45 minutes.
I would
Well,
be
not going to the
overtrained.
gym.
I don't have time to do that.
Dave, it's not the gym. He can go outside. He can go outside in his backyard and do the rock garden.
You have to do it.
So one is outside, Dave, and one is inside.
So yard work is 45 minutes exercise.
I count splitting wood and digging and ditches, digging out.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I count that. That definitely.
Getting into nature, getting close to God. That's the point.
By the way,
I think the point.
I take back my Mr. G criticism earlier. It's actually Larry. Larry's camera was the one. Larry's microphone was the one doing it. I don't know what he's got going on over there, but it was like there was like a radio playing in the background. When I muted you, Larry, it went away. So sorry, it's you.
Larry must have a rattlesnake there.
I unmuted you just now, but Larry, you have the problem over there, so got to fix it.
So I've been on the same program for 40 years, nonstop.
There was some kind of feedback there. I don't know what was going on.
No,
That's not working out.
Lifestyle program.
Yeah, but I stick to the same schedule. I try not to deviate from it at all.
Yeah,
I train the same days every week, the same times.
That's me too.
I eat at the same time, get up at the same time, work at the same time. I have everything in my calendar, and I try not to deviate from my schedule. When I do, it throws me off.
Yeah.
That is a prime example of what everybody should be doing.
Yeah. And it really throws me off if I deviate from my schedule for whatever reason. My eating, my sleep, everything gets messed up.
And you're the most productive when you stick to it, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
If I were to tell Larry, all right, Larry, you got your schedule. Now I want you to throw another 45-minute workout in there, and I want you to do this and this and this. It'll make him worse. It won't make him better. It'll make him worse. So I think people have to find a schedule that works for them and set that up and say, you know what? I'm going to commit to doing this every single day.
Well, that is the goal. Like I said, the goal is to find you the goal is to create a Larry. That's what you're striving to do.
I literally have my scheduled days off where I dedicate that time for work, and then I have my training days where everything's structured and everything goes in my calendar. And I get really pissed off at people when they try to mess with my schedule. Like if they,
you wouldn't like him when he's angry, believe me.
If I
get sleep with the rattlesnake.
You know, wake up with a rattlesnake in the bed.
Don't make him angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. All right. As much as I love you guys, I got to wrap up. I can't even believe we still have people watching, but I guess people have a lot of cardio to do. It's contest season. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I know the Masters Nationals was this past week, and they gave out like 4,000 pro cards. And I congratulate everyone who won pro cards and had a great weekend out there in Pittsburgh. I know the North American's coming up in about 6 or 7 weeks, and we got the USA Championships this weekend. So it is busy in the world of bodybuilding. Then we get the Tampa Pro in 2 weeks. So a lot of good stuff happening in the bodybuilding world. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm Dave Palumbo with John Romano for the entire Whack Pack. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.